Academica Media. From Academica Media Studios in Miami, Florida, it's Big Ideas in Education, a weekly recap of inspiration and innovation in your schools.
Hello, education lovers. We are excited as always to have you joining us on this week's installment of the Big Ideas in Education podcast. I'm Ryan Kairalla from Doral College, joined by Dr. Sarah Boulos-Fye from Somerset Academy Schools. Hi, Sarah. You got a new setting behind you. You're out and about.
Yes. Hi, Ryan. Hello, everyone. Yes, I am on location at a school that is luckily letting me use their principal's office to record today's episode.
Well, nice. Put your feet up. Really enjoy the space. It's always cool. Always cool to be hanging in the principal's office.
For not a bad reason, yes.
That's a very good point. What story do you have for us this week?
Well, this past month, over $1.8 million was awarded to high school students in what some are calling the Junior Nobel Prize. It's the Regeneron Science Talent Search, a prestigious competition for high school seniors in the United States who demonstrate exceptional abilities in the field of STEM. The competition, formerly known as the Westinghouse Science Talent Search, has been running for over 80 years and is widely regarded as the most prestigious high school science competition in the country. Each year, approximately 1,800 students from around the country apply, and 300 are selected as semifinalists. From there, 40 finalists are chosen to present their research at the final competition in Washington, D.C. This year's first place winner, Neil Mugdal, developed a novel approach to designing proteins that has the potential to revolutionize the field of medicine. His work could lead to new therapies for cancer and other diseases and has significant implications for the future of healthcare. Neil's innovative research highlights the critical role that young scientists can play in addressing some of the world's most pressing challenges. The second place winner was Emily Ocasio, who used an artificial intelligence model to match publicly available FBI data with archival Boston Globe articles throughout history to examine hidden biases about homicide victims in media coverage. Really impressive.
Woo!
By using AI to document these biases, Emily shows that it can be safely used to help society answer complex social science questions. And the third place winner was Ellen Zhu, who developed an algorithm that can use a smartphone photo of a patient to aid in the diagnosis of Kawasaki disease, which is the leading cause of acquired heart disease in children between the years 1 and 5. These young students are not just the future of science and technology, they are already making significant contributions to the field. Many former finalists and winners have gone on to make significant contributions to their fields, and the competition has played a key role in inspiring and supporting the next generation of STEM leaders in the United States. Congratulations to all the finalists, and especially to the winners. We are going to link where you can see, see summaries of all of the finalists and what they are contributing in their own research. I have a feeling we'll be hearing more about their accomplishments for a long time to come. And I, for one, will do my best to pretend I understand what they are talking about.
Well, these kids sound pretty impressive, Sarah, but I had some pretty solid science projects when I was their age back in my day. I had pretty terrific poster board presentation of which carpet cleaner cleans the best that I think got me somewhere in the top 20, but we were a pretty good STEM school in our day. Yeah, these kids are slightly ahead of what
housekeeping stamp of approval.
I mean, it's amazing what happens because with some of these science projects, because I feel like when I did science projects, it was basically just consumer studies, like what carpet cleaner cleans the best or something like that. And these kids are as you said, they're not just the future of science, they're the present of science. They are doing innovations that are useful right now today as school children, just representing the best of what we want to accomplish in our STEM education here in the U.S. Really tremendous.
It's really incredible. I think that what is happening and what students are able to learn about and create, I have to say, I think the fact that so many of these students right now, we're talking about high school seniors, we think about what their high school career has been like and how much of it was spent at home in the pandemic in such complicated situations, the fact that they have gone out there and really engaged in the fields that they're passionate about is so exceptional. And I just think it's our job as educators to help students who have a passion to really further it as much as possible and to open the doors for our students to see that they are making a difference right now if they want to.
There is really no limit in terms of the amazing things that school children can accomplish when we make learning not just something that's a passive experience, but something that students do. Remember when we profiled the Teacher of the Year candidates about a year ago, and we talked about how those teachers that were up for the award were not just having their students learn science by reading it out of a book, but they were having their students learn science by having them help protect a national park in their area. And when you make it an active activity and not just something passive that they're doing out of a book, these kids take it and run with it. I mean, you know, as impressive as these stories are, and they are impressive, I hear stories of students doing incredible things like that in our own backyard just because we empower them to take the things that they're learning and do things with them. Project-based learning, problem solving in their learning. And when you give them that freedom, when you give them that green light to take the things that they've learned and solve problems with them, man, they can solve some problems. And it's so inspiring.
I couldn't agree more. Now, Ryan, I know you have something that you wanted to share.
I do. This is a cool little story out of Ed Week. They had an intriguing profile of chess grandmaster Maurice Ashley, in which he advocated for continuing to introduce the game of chess in schools. Having coached school kids in chess for over 30 years in the Bronx, Ashley spoke about the power of the game to help achieve valuable learning goals. Quote, "Chess is a discipline masked as a game. It improves critical thinking skills, concentration, focus. Students of the game also learn to win and lose with grace." Ashley also spoke about how the game is particularly valuable for students with learning differences such as ADHD or who are on the autism spectrum. Ashley notes that chess is a great addition to schools, either as an in-class activity, co-curricular program, or just a way to give students a fun break. Now, Ashley also closes the article with some resources that teachers can use to learn more about the game, including platforms like chess.com and lichess.org. We're going to put all of that in the show description for them. But this definitely speaks to me. I had a teacher at my elementary school who was a big chess aficionado and got us all into the game. And while I say just pretty clearly I am an awful chess player, I know the rules to chess, I know what all the little pieces do, I could not win a game to save my life. The strategy involved is just beyond my comprehension. But I still learned a lot by being around the game. It taught me a lot about critical thinking, about how to anticipate moves, about how to plan long-term strategy. And just after a tough day in class, it was a great way to socialize with others in a way that was, wasn't too noisy. It didn't, it didn't disrupt other people's learning. There's a lot to like about chess. And so I love that somebody as accomplished as Maurice Ashley, the first black chess grandmaster in history, talking about how valuable this game can be in schools and putting his money where his mouth is by actually dedicating a great part of his life to bringing the game of chess to school children in the Bronx. There's a lot to love about this story.
Well, considering that you are speaking as an attorney, I think maybe having that experience in chess and learning about long-term strategy may have actually helped you more than you might realize.
It had a lot. I mean, ironically, I think playing chess as a kid had a lot of positive impacts for me in almost everything other than getting good at chess. If that's somehow possible. Like it was such a positive experience, except you wouldn't know it on my chessboard.
Well, I joke a lot because when I talk about my own school experience and the teams that I played on, the sports teams I played on, and the musical instruments I played, I don't do any of those things anymore, right? I am not a runner. I am not a musician per se anymore. But it doesn't mean that didn't contribute significantly to who I became, right? And the lessons that I learned via teamwork and being part of an organization like a team or a musical group or anything like that, teaches us so much more than just the skill we're learning at the time. And so when you mentioned bringing this into schools helps not just with being on a team, but something that maybe doesn't make a lot of noise. It sounds silly, but actually, I think that's exactly what a lot of students need, right? So when we're talking about students with neurodivergencies or on the spectrum, school is an unbelievably overstimulating place. And this is something we talk about a lot as school administrators, that for our students and probably for our educators as well, we are inundated with stimuli, right? We are inundated with noise. We are inundated with other bodies. We are inundated with so much stuff all day. And providing a space in the school day, in the school building, or maybe in an after school group where students who need that disassociation to be able to just connect in a way where they feel more comfortable is a really amazing opportunity. And I think it's something we need to put in place and protect for those kids. I definitely think that chess can be a great opportunity for all sorts of kids in all sorts of areas. But the fact that we can provide such a particularly centering activity where they can learn and grow and use their imagination and use their logic and use these different strategies to improve themselves is absolutely tremendous. And I hope that we take a look at how we can incorporate that more into our schools, because we do talk a lot about sports and arts and music, and those are all incredibly important, but they're not for everyone. And so I like how inclusive chess is as an activity.
I love your use of the term centering there. I think that is something that chess is very good at doing, and that can provide a lot of value in the classroom. We're going to put some of the resources in there because I know there are a lot of teachers out there who might be thinking they want to bring this game to their schools, but also think like, I'm not a chess grandmaster. I'm not Maurice Ashley.
Can I do it if I don't know what I'm doing?
and Maurice is the first one to say you don't have to be a grandmaster to bring this game into your schools, especially with all the great resources that are out there to help get you started, which we're going to make sure you have access to in the show description. If I can get into chess, then I think you can too. All right. Thank you very, very much for hanging with us this week. If you have any thoughts on the stories, we'd love to hear from you. Tweet at us at Academica Media with the hashtag Big Ideas in Education, and tell us your thoughts on the Regeneron Science Talent Search and bringing chess into schools. Sarah, I would tell you to stay warm where you are, but you're in one of the hottest places on earth, so...
I'm not going to lie. I have a fan blowing on me right now. Not sure if you can hear it, but it's pretty warm out here.
Well, get home safe. How about that?
Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for chilling with me in the principal's office today.
The views expressed on the preceding program have been those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Academica, its clients, staff, affiliates, or advertisers.